So here we go for step one. Building another Camry, step one, aka drain windshield washer fluid, because that stuff is not cheap. As you guys may know, I made a video saying that I'm not going to be able to make it to Mini Meltdown because the border is closed until the 20th of June, but Mini Meltdown's on the 19th. So on a Monday, I messaged him and I said, "Are you guys still firm on the 19th?" They said yes. So on Tuesday, I said, "Can I please have back my entry fee?" And they said, "No problem." I was actually really impressed that they offered to pay me back my entry fee, but it was massive outside complications, really. So I'm actually very happy that they gave it back. $100 American is actually about $145 Canadian. So I was really happy I got that money back. But then on Friday night, they announced that Mini Meltdown's moved to August. So they've already kiboshed my 3.1 going to Mini Meltdown. And there is another derby that I have a car built for. There we go. It's built, but it's actually now been rescheduled to the week before Mini Meltdown. So that means I actually need a different car for Mini Meltdown. So I'm not sure if this one's going to go there or the other one is going to go there. But realistically, we need to build another Camry. I was thinking of maybe building something different, but realistically, Camrys are winners. So today, we are going to be stripping this car. We're going to be taking out everything that we don't need. I'm kind of burping a lot because I just ate lunch. Bumper, wiring, AC is actually seized, alternator is not. This car here I actually bought about 3 years ago, and the gentleman told me that he got rid of it because it was leaking oil. As you can see, the oil leak right there, I'm pretty sure it's from this car. It's not a bad oil leak, but he didn't want to keep driving it. Overall, it's not very rusty. It's actually a pretty nice car. It's been stripped for quite some time. Spiders underneath the door handles. A little rusty here and there, but I've already got most of the interior out. I like to call this a smash and grab for interior. I just kind of grab whatever I can and fill up a car and throw it out. So anyway, it's kind of done. It's kind of nice. All we got is windows, door trim, dash, center console, underneath the hood, mirrors, glass, that kind of stuff, wiper motor. And yeah. So this thing here, I'd like to get stripped. We're going to go buy a dumpster car tonight. It's just like a 98 VW Golf that the motor is blown in. Just completely destroyed and already parted out. We're just picking it up for scrap. We're going to fill it up with all this. And then we'll take it in tomorrow morning. Maybe the next morning, I'm not sure. But saying that, we're pretty much getting this thing going to be stripped down today. So just give me about an hour and we'll see how big of a pile I can make on the ground right there, taking this car apart. Like I said, almost everything's already out of the back, so it really should not be that big a pile. But let's see how big a pile I can get. Well, last night I got quite a bit of stuff taken out of this. As you can see underneath the hood, there's a lot of stuff gone. Great thing about Toyotas after building that Hyundai is I kind of know where every bolt is now. So it makes the teardown super simple. I tore down the dash in a matter of minutes. I left the heater, smashed out everything else, computers, wiring. A lot of stuff's been taken out of this. You can see it on the ground here. That's all the wiring from inside the car. So that's about $10 to $15 worth of just hard wiring removed. And outside, we have all the pieces of the interior. Well, not all the pieces, but the pieces that were left. Like you got the windshield, the rad fans, breather box, dash. Most of this is dash, but you got wheel wells there, air conditioning, yeah, blah, blah, blah. What we're going to do is we're going to stuff it in this car. I bought this car last night. Problem is, my buddy has an off-road race coming up. We call it River's Race, mostly because the guy that runs the race, his name's River. There's no river near it, but the guy that runs it's River. So it's River's Race is what I call it. I don't know if anybody else calls it. But I bought this car for that, and so it's pretty much just a go there and race. So I would have taken out the windows and stuff like that, but the gas tank is basically hanging on the ground. The motor mounts, two of them are actually broken, and both rear springs are broken. So a race with jumps and off-road oddities, I don't really think this is a great car for that. So we will not be taking this to Rivers Race. It will just be a scrap car. I can't even open the hood. You can see how rotted it is. I can just bend the hood by hand. I thought the bumper might be half decent because it's actually pretty thick. But just messing around with this car, pushing it around, I put a huge dent inside of it. So I don't think that is a fantastic bumper. Now, mind you, I did fold this frame over half decent. As you can see, she's no longer straight. But I don't think I'm going to be keeping many parts off this thing. I'm probably just going to be keeping the bare necessities. But we're going to start throwing all that junk inside of this car and seeing how well I can make it fit. It runs and drives, so it's going to be a good little pusher vehicle for around the property. It's got a full exhaust system, so it's quiet. But that's not bad. Let's start filling this piece of crap up. So, the VW is almost full. She's jam-packed. Oh. Yep, that's what happens when I get a nice car. I'm joking, this thing isn't a nice car. But she's packed right down. There's a little bit more we can put into it, but I've been tearing this car apart trying to get everything that I don't need out of it, which I've actually been doing pretty good. The rear trailing arms are actually in really good shape on this. They were just rusty, which is like every other trailing arms for these damn things. So everything was taken out, and I'm going to lubricate it to put it all back in. But this has been a heck of a job. I even had to break out the torch. You guys, if you don't know Camrys, these pieces here, you pretty much got to heat them up to take them out just because of how tight they are. And the reason I took all this apart is this is the subframe that was in the back of this car. She's not very nice. Both sides are actually very rotted. But, yeah, I took the subframe out thinking, oh, I got a spare subframe, that's okay. I'll throw the spare sub in. So here's my spare sub, but this is at a 92 to 96. They will bolt in, but the difference in the trailing arms is 4 inches per side. These are 24, the other ones are 20 inches, so they're much smaller. And all these arms are bent. Now I could cut these arms and I could replace them with threaded rod and stuff like that, but I don't want to be accused of at the show as reinforcing factory parts. So I'm not going to be able to use this sub, even though I just spent all that time and carried it over here. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take the sub out of a different car. I've pushed Infected back to the asphalt because Infected actually has a pretty good sub in the back of it. So, but the downside is if I remove this sub, it's going to be very hard to load this thing on my trailer. But what am I going to do? I kind of need a good sub for that car. I guess I could wait until it gets on the trailer to pull the sub, but it kind of puts me in a pickle. So I think tomorrow I'm going to start working on pulling this sub out of this car, and I know that loading it's going to be difficult, but whatever, I don't care. Maybe I'll just put wheels or something underneath the back of it, who knows. We'll have to see, I guess. But yeah, tomorrow we're going to be working at getting this thing out. But today, we got this car actually completely stripped and all put into that car. Yeah, so there you go. That's what I've been up to today. It was a lot of work to get this rear sub out of there. It always is. As you guys can see, the amount of rust that came out of the sub on the ground here. I swept all this right before I started this job. So that is quite a bit of rust that came out of this. So hopefully we can get the rear subframe out of that Solera and into this car, and hopefully it makes this thing kind of indestructible, hopefully. But I'll keep you guys informed. Maybe we'll take the sub out of that car tomorrow. So we'll see you guys back here, and don't go anywhere yet, because we'll be right back.